9.3 Nigeria info. We're going to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Yes, the DRC. Now, for those who do not know, there are two Congos. There's Congo Brazzaville, and then there's the DRC, where, it's been facing all kinds of things. It's been war torn for years and years, and there's been this fight, for whatever is in the ground. The manufacturing, the mines where children are being used as slaves. I mean, all kinds of things happening in the DRC. But recently, the DRC decided to go to polls and, of course, have an election. And the election turned violent, of course. I saw on that election day, actually, I saw people, literally felt like I was in Lagos. Because I saw people kicking ballot boxes and breaking things and just tearing ballot papers. And it was a terrible, terrible day. Some places experience, calm and, safe elections, but most places saw experienced violence. In fact, as we speak, 5 opposition candidates had announced their intention to march, calling the DRC election a fraud. Sounds familiar? Anyway, let me give you some more background. The opposition candidates in the Democratic Republic of Congo's presidential election, which early results show the incumbent president with a large lead, planned to march in the capital yesterday, despite the authorities banning that protest. As at yesterday, when they intended, to go on that mass protest or march, the government had issued a statement of ban that they cannot protest. But then they insisted, these 5 opposition parties, that they were going to go on a mass march across the capital. 5 opposition presidential candidates informed the governor of Kinshasa in a letter published on Saturday of their intention to organize the march. Afterwards, Martin Fayulu, one of the main challengers of President Felix Tshisekedi in the December 20 elections, had said that the opposition candidate who had called the joint demonstration over alleged election irregularities would proceed with the march because they were convinced that the vote was a fraud. Now, I'm trying to get my guest to join us. My guest is a journalist who is reporting from Kinshasa. He would be in a better position to explain to us exactly what's going on. He's supposed to join us via Skype, but unfortunately, he's unable to do that. So I'm going to try to see if I can get him via WhatsApp to see if he can join the conversation in a minute. But while we try to get him to join us, I'll take a quick break and come back with Mugo on the phone.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info, your mic is always on. Let's talk.
Making a mistake does not make you special. Everybody makes a mistake. What makes you special is how and if you get up. They said, Carla, why don't you talk about the pearls that you would have given to your 25-year-old self after being a woman on Wall Street for 30 years? So here's how it goes. Dear Carla, the first thing that I'd like to tell you is own your power. When people are starting to question whether or not you can, and you start to doubt whether or not you can, red flag, you have just given away your power. The next thing I'd like to tell you, Carla, is you must be comfortable taking risks. If you never reach far enough to hit that wall, you won't know how far you can go. can happen if you take a risk and it doesn't work out? So you fail. But guess what? Failure always brings you a gift. And that gift is called experience. The third piece of advice, Carla, is remember that it is easier to beg for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. The fourth piece of advice, and Carla, this is a big one. If you meet somebody, a guy or a gal, that you are interested in, and they tell you that you are too much for them, they are right. Do not dim your light for somebody else's convenience. The fifth piece of advice, Carla, is you must celebrate your victories often. There'll be lots of things that will happen in life that might make you sad, that might make you pause. So when the great things happen, no matter how small, celebrate. When it's your birthday, celebrate all month. My next piece of advice, Carla, don't worry about making mistakes. And oh, by the way, making a mistake, Carla, does not make you special. Everybody makes a mistake. What makes you special is how and if you get up. The next piece of advice, life is a journey. Don't be in such a hurry to go towards things. Enjoy every single lesson that life brings you. And then finally, I say to you, as my good friend Judith Adu said to me, this is real life. Tis ain't no dress rehearsal. So make sure that you go for it all of the time. Put your foot on the gas no matter what it is and go for it. You have absolutely nothing to lose. If you are stuck and you're not sure whether or not you should try something, always default to the try. You already are clear about what no looks like, so why wouldn't you play for yes? And as I close, I say to you, Carla, when you empower other people, you magnify and amplify your impact. You have all the goods that you need in order to maximize your success. Sincerely, Carla.
Credible journalism, bridging the gap between people and those in authority. With Hard Facts, you are sure to get only the facts.
Tune in to Hard Facts with Marianne Okon on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, it's still Global Review, and I'm being joined by my guest. Unfortunately, we were having issues with calling him, he joining us via Zoom, but he's here right now. Mugo, thank you so much for joining us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, and my apologies for those technical delays from my end.
No problem. Lagos, Mugo is actually... he's a journalist, just so that you know. He's an author and a security research journalist working across the Horn of Africa, Eastern and even Central Africa. Mugo, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone wants to hear, because I just gave a background of what's transpired since the 20th of December up until now in the DRC. Now, the DRC has been known for all kinds of issues, whether it be mining issues, the fact that there is some displacement crisis in the DRC, and now the elections that have turned violent, and plus the fact that there's supposed to be a protest of sorts by 5 political parties opposing what happened on December 20, calling it a fraud.
Yes, it has been quite a very tense process of this election process, but those who had been observing the process in Democratic Republic of Congo might have anticipated that things were not going right, because especially the opposition over time had been saying that the preparation were not adequate enough to be able to hold credible, fair elections by December 20th. But the government and the Electoral Commission decided that it was time to do it, and that ended up what was observed kind of a very long delay in terms of delivery of electoral materials on 20th of December. And on top of that, it brought about a chaotic voting system where things were not ready, materials were not available, things did not make it to the voting locations in time, and that disrupted the whole. And if you consider Congo, for those who are thinking about it, Democratic Republic of Congo is the size of Western Europe. So that is a very complex country that has different dynamics, insecurity, the poor infrastructure, and all this complicated the process. Today, as we are talking right now, the most powerful Catholic church in Congo has just released a report, their preliminary report. And they have, among other things, noted that the irregularities observed through the voting, through the tabulation, the counting, the access by the voters, has the ability to affect the outcome of the results. That is where we are. It seems now the opposition have rejected the results. The government is appealing to the public to hold on and wait for the final result. But the Catholic Church now is saying the things are not good and the whole mess we have seen has the ability to affect the election. Yes, please.
I'm looking at a video here where the police is seen dragging people. We've seen fires, set in certain places set ablaze by protesters. This protest was supposed to be a peaceful protest or a march by 5 opposition leaders, but then it did turn violent, and we see what's happening. Could it have been hijacked? And even as much as you say that the government is appealing for, some form of weight on the side of the people so that they come up with the proper results, Felix Tshisekedi is being seen to be leading in the votes, and this again, might it be the reason why these people in opposition are protesting?
Yes, the protest was called by 5 members of the opposition on December 27, which was yesterday. And their demands were, although they had already declared their opposition, that they wanted the public to express their opposition to the ongoing electoral process, what we can call, in other words, the counting and the tallying of the votes. So what they wanted the people to come to the street and express their dissatisfaction. But the government did not permit that. And out of that contestation between the supporters of the 5 main opposition, including Martin Fayulu, one of the presidential candidates, and who was supposed to have believed to have won the 2018 election, crashed with the police because the police were trying to disperse them. But then, on that side, parallel to that, the counting and the tallying of the result is going on very slowly. And that is also making these people angry, because they are saying this process has to stop. We need to nullify the process and call for fresh elections. But the Electoral Commission is still going ahead and counting. And those results, although so far they have counted around 10 million votes, and those are showing that the incumbent, Felix Tshisekedi, is still in the lead, and the opposition is following way behind. And that is not making people happy, because the fear is they could still be going to the conclusion of the process while majority of the country feel alienated. Yes, please.
Let's talk about quickly, because I know that you have to jump onto another thing. So in the next 2 minutes,
yes.
In the next 2 minutes, let's talk about the leadership of Felix Tshisekedi and why he has so many people opposing him in this election, as opposed to being unopposed.
Yes. The issue here comes in, for you to understand this process, has to go, if you have some time, one has to go back to 2018. We had an election, and in that election, Felix Tshisekedi, I would say, was declared the winner. Then later, it emerged, especially a report released by the powerful Catholic Church, that revealed that actually Martin Fayulu, the then opposition coalition candidate, had won. So in other words, it's as if the elections was changed at the last minute and Tshisekedi was declared the winner. So from onset, he had credibility issues and he has never been accepted. So all along, it's like now he had tried and govern a very fractured, fragile country. Then you had a conflict in the east. So he never got enough time to establish himself, assert his authority, and govern the country. And by the end of it all, we are having an election in a very divided country where you are very unpopular. And in that process now, anything you do that is subject to criticism or question tend to multiply. And these are the scenarios we see in Africa, that acceptability of a leader does matter. And that's the question now we are having here in Congo, is that we seem to be having elections just as a formality, not as a culture or a discipline. And that is the problem, that we seem to be holding election. Okay, we held election, so we can move on. But then that is fracturing the African stability, because the question we need to ask ourselves, do we really need to have election in Africa if it's just a formality? It's not a culture. We seem to have aped and carried the European way of voting and electoral process as a formality, but not as a culture. And that is the problem we are having, that these elections keep to be in Congo, in Kenya, in Uganda, name them, all in Nigeria, in Gabon, all they are adding in controversy the same question of credibility, leaguing, and leaders being accepted. And those are the issues. The question is, for how long will Africa get to a point where they can inculcate the culture of democracy? Yes.
Mugo, you literally just asked my next question, but because of time, I'm just gonna let you go, because I know you have other things that you need to go back to. But I want to say thank you very much for speaking with us for the little time that you have. Mugo is an author. He's a security research journalist working across the Horn, Eastern and Central part of Africa. Mugo, we appreciate you. Stay safe while you cover, the developments there in the DRC.
And thank you for giving me a chance, and we talk next time.
All right. Thank you very much, Mugo, for joining us on the show. All right. Well, Lagos, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to analyze this side by side, all of the situations and the electoral, experiences we've spoken on Global Review, whether it be Zimbabwe, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and now the DRC. And the question that Mugo asked, how long can Africa continue like this? I mean, if we must have good governance, something has to give. We'll talk about it after this break. Stay with us. It's still Global Review on Hard Facts, 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Hi there. My name is Mercy Johnson Okoji.
My name is Joke Silva.
Hi there. I am Aprokoda.
My name is Chef Winnie, aka Delicious Food.
It's your boy Cruz with Joe. I love cooking.
And my choice of cooking oil.
And my choice of cooking oil is Power Oil.
My choice is Power Oil.
Use Power Oil. It's triple filtered. It contains omega-6 and 9, and it's fortified with vitamin A. Plus, it comes in different packs and sizes, so you can afford it without breaking the bank.
It's due you December. That means making statements your way, just like the queens of Real Housewives of Lagos. So just relax, because it's about you enjoying top-tier entertainment like Wura, Agu, School Run, and so much more. Only on Showmax. Do You December is also for the young ones and international movie lovers. Do You with SpongeBob, Fast X, and No Hard Feelings this festive, anywhere, anytime, without interruptions. Do You December is all about you. Subscribe now to showmax.com.
Let me explain why I switched my company's healthcare partner to Reliance HMO. Our old partner didn't process payments in time, so we had delayed access to care. It meant that I had to add sorting out team members' medical issues to my many HR responsibilities. Can you imagine? Reliance HMO solved these issues but didn't stop there. Their app allows us to connect to a doctor 247 via an internet connection. It even gets better. After consultation, the prescribed drugs are delivered free of charge. Yes, managing the healthcare of my large staff team is easier than ever. I registered everyone in the shortest possible time. Why wouldn't I choose them? Make a smart choice like me. Choose Reliance HMO today.
For more information, call 0700 735 42623. Reliance HMO, the next generation HMO for business.
What takes a plate of jollof rice to the next level of goodness? Is it when it is cooked with no sizzling cubes for that sumptuous taste? Or when you serve it with correct Nigerian salad, cabbage, carrot, lettuce, and a bit of kidney beans?
It's both. Season your jollof with the rich taste of Knorr cubes and serve with plenty of vegetables. So, go ahead and elevate your meals. Today, eat for good.
It's What's Up Lagos. 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays.
All the woulda, coulda, shoulda. What if, what must, what should, what do you think?
We call it the Museum, you call it fantastic. Mondays to Friday, keep it locked right here on What's Up Lagos with me, Feta.
And stretch.
Searching for quality yet affordable office, home and outdoor furniture to serve different purposes? Then today is your lucky day. Now introducing Polymat Furniture, the ideal furniture brand you've been missing. From office and home furniture to outdoor furniture, garden seats, luxury sofa chairs of diverse kinds, silent furniture, bookshelves and cabinets, gaming furniture like snooker, table tennis boards, and many more. We have them readily made to be transported to you wherever you are in Nigeria. Check out our glamorous showroom at our head office, number 38A, Oba Dauda, along Franklas Road, opposite Lasu Main Gate, Lagos. Visit our website at polymatfurniture.com. Email us at acpolymat@gmail.com or call 0806 3431 825. Polymat Furniture, a symbol of beauty and authenticity.
Today, we are out to ask Nigerians what they think about John Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate drink. Come with me, guys.
So good.
Hey, is it well?
Really nice, oh. My kids can't get enough of it.
I love John Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate drink.
So refreshing and nourishing.
Great. So tell me, how do you enjoy John Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate drink?
Add water. Stir. And enjoy instant goodness.
So there you have it. Everyone here loves John Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate drink. You don't need milk or sugar. Just add water for instant goodness any time of the day.
John Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate drink is available in stores and supermarkets nationwide. Enjoy instant goodness of rich cocoa, milk, and sugar with John Vent's 3-in-1 chocolate drink.
With just 200 naira, you can win 5 million naira in the BetKing Pick 11 jackpot. Visit betking.com. Deposit 200 naira in your account to play and predict 11 games correctly from the jackpot lobby. Also, you can win a cash prize of 1 million naira when you predict 10 correct out of 11 games. Win up to 500,000 naira when you predict 9 correct games and a cash back of 200 naira when you predict only 8 correct games. Start placing your bets now on BetKing Pick 11 jackpot bet. Play responsibly.
That feeling, that's BetKing. It's What's Up Lagos. What's Up Lagos? 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays.
All the woulda, coulda, shoulda. What if? What must? What should? What do you think?
We call it the Museum. You call it fantastic. Mondays to Friday. Keep it locked right here on What's Up Lagos with me, Feta.
And stretch.
What's up, Lagos?
When the world gets too loud, we think of home. Home is finding peace and quiet. Home is a familiar face. Home is laughter. Home is romance. Home is action. Home is suspense. When you need to get away from the world, home is where it happens. Find Home on Netflix.
We are all gathered here today to witness the joining of all 32 of you in blissful matrimony to Glow MiFi and Router. Do you, Wi-Fi enabled devices, take this Glow MiFi and Router as your lawful data plug?
Yes, we do.
Do you, Glow MiFi and Router, promise to be there in good times and in Sakba?
Yes, we do.
Now you may stay connected.
Enjoy a connected life with Glow MiFi and Router. Get 60 gigabytes data bonus when you buy a Glow MiFi and 180 gigabytes data bonus when you buy a Glow Router. And connect up to 32 Wi-Fi enabled devices. Available at Glow World shops nationwide. Glow Unlimited.
You define better odd. I be you one play cause over 1.5. I be you one bet say both seem no go score at all. Yeah, we get the top pay out. No worry, we there for you. Our odd chapter out. You know the feeling show. Oh lo, we there for you. Oh, we there for you. You see for bet baba, feel we money. Bet baba, cash out the day easy. Or bet baba, we get online games for you. Play all go down one. Yeah. We get better bonus. And give me no dollar. Yeah. Now bet Baba day so. Cash up, no sharp. No darling, no. Welcome to Bet Baba.
Register now on betbaba.ng. Not for people under 18.
Who will be the Season 7 champion of the I Beg to Differ student debate competition? Clarity of thought, evidence-based argument, logicality of points. 32 debaters will go head-to-head, face-to-face. The I Beg to Differ student debate competition returns in February 2024. Auditions are now open for secondary school students in Lagos, aged 13 to 16. To begin, visit www.nigeriainfo.fm. Click on the I Beg to Differ banner on the homepage. Pick one topic from the list provided. Argue 2 minutes in favor and 2 minutes against the topic. Upload your 4 minutes audio recording in MP3 format. Complete the registration form and submit. Auditions close on the 7th of January 2024. For sponsorship, call 070-3498-4352 or email info@nigeriainfo.fm. I Beg to Differ Season 7.
Meals have a way of taking us on a journey, and when you add plenty of vegetables like efo, ugu, and season with the rich taste of North seasoning cubes, even better.
So, go ahead and elevate your meals with more vegetables and the rich taste of Knorr cubes. Today, eat for good.
Get in on the action with Betano, your exciting destination for sports betting. Enjoy an award-winning experience with amazing betting options, cash outs and missions, as well as other features. Join now and get a welcome bonus up to 200,000 Naira. Betano.ng, the game starts now.
It's subsidy season. Win fuel vouchers, shopping vouchers, and airtime in the Hair Subsidy promo brought to you by Hares Insurance Group. When you renew or buy any motor insurance plan from Hares Insurance Group, you get an instant gift and qualify to win one of 25 fuel vouchers worth 100,000 Naira each. Yes, that's right, a 100,000 Naira fuel voucher. The Hair Subsidy promo is open from now until December 31st, 2023. To renew or buy a motor insurance plan, chat with Prince on WhatsApp number 0911 400 9420 or call 0700 434 7746. Terms and conditions apply. Approved by the FCCPC and NLRC.
No matter what I do, you love me unconditionally. You show up for me every day, no matter when I show you.
A mother's love is unconditional. Nothing serves this love better than a bowl of Indomie. So, show some love with Indomie.
Lagos, are you ready to be heard?
Hello, good morning, the microphone heavyweight.
Oh my god, boom, boom, boom.
Hello, Kofi. Good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
It's your voice that drives the conversation on the Morning Crossfire.
They are making people feel so disappointed about politics in Nigeria.
I want to really complain about the way everything is just skyrocketing because I'm so traumatized. I don't know if the government can do something to subsidize fuel or just in a way to just help.
It is not done. It is not good. I know my right. We want to hear from you. Your opinions, your stories, your take on the hot topics shaping our city and nation. Join Kofi Bartels for engaging debates, expert insights, and your voice at the heart of every discussion. Don't just listen, participate. Tune in to the Morning Crossfire. Weekdays from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
3 emerging artists, 4 mega producers, 3 record deals with Empire. Do you have what it takes? Pepsi Music Academy, in partnership with Empire, is Nigeria's confirmed music development program. Scan the QR code on any of our cool interactive Pepsi bottles or visit www.pepsimusicacademy.ng to register for free and stand a chance to kickstart your music career with a 2-year record deal with Empire. Pepsi Music Academy. Stardom begins here. Pepsi, thirsty for more.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my Maggie gave to me
serves this love better than a bowl of Indomie. So, show some love with Indomie.
It's due you December. That means making statements your way, just like the queens of Real Housewives of Lagos. So just relax, because it's about you enjoying top tier entertainment like Wura, Agbo, School Run, and so much more. Only on Showmax. Do You December is also for the young ones and international movie lovers. Do You with SpongeBob, Fast X, and No Hard Feelings this festive anywhere, anytime without interruptions. Do You December is all about you. Subscribe now to Showmax.com.
Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste. With our unique expertise, we select fine quality tea leaves from selected tea gardens around the world. Experience Lipton Yellow Label's flavorful and balanced taste in every sip. Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste.
3 emerging artists, 4 mega producers, 3 record deals with Empire. Do you have what it takes? Pepsi Music Academy, in partnership with Empire, just confirmed music development program. Scan the QR code on any of our cool interactive Pepsi bottles or visit www.pepsimusicacademy.ng to register for free and stand a chance to kickstart your music career with a 2-year record deal with Empire. Pepsi Music Academy. Stardom begins here. Pepsi, thirsty for more.
Connection is very important, especially when it's strong. And you don't realize this until you are cut off. Keep your connection strong at home or on the go with Airtel Home Broadband Internet. Get any of our devices, like the 7,500 MiFi or the 10,000 router with instant 30 gigabytes or the 20,000 router with instant 100 gigabytes. Hurry to the nearest Airtel shop or visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
As you see me so, I belong to the Chop Better gang. Now why anytime I want chop like this, I dey put better things inside. For my yam porridge, after I don put my fish, I go con deck am with onions, tatashe and ugu, con season am with correct knorr cubes for that delicious taste. Because my people, good life na life where you chop better.
Sama all your food with correct vegetables. Come season am with no cubes for that ogbonge delicious taste. Today, chop better.
As the Christmas bells ring and joy begins to flow. In this season, Chivita juice is the way to go. Correct enjoyment, cheerful celebrations. In this season, Chivita juice is the way to go. Chivita season is here. Whoever you are, this Christmas, enjoy your Chivita.
Everyone has a Chivita. Enjoy your Chivita this season.
Enjoy your Chivita.
If you're on Niger's Confirm Network, you get a super gift of 1,000 naira for just joining the network. You're welcome. 900% bonus on every recharge, 100% data bonus for 6 months, and double data bonus on your first recharge of the month. That's the 9 Confirm plan from 9 Mobile, and it's lit. So get a new SIM or dial star 1400 hash and start browsing, sharing, and creating more on Niger's Confirm Network. 9 Mobile, here for you, here on Naija.
Every lit day of Christmas, Prime Video gives to me action-packed adventure.
I don't hit soft.
Heartwarming drama. How would you help him? Edge of sea, it's thrillers.
It's like the good old days.
Cracking shows.
You don't freak out.
Catch all the fun right here on Prime Video. All Christmas long. What a way to enjoy the season.
This Christmas, watch Candy Cane Lane, Jack Reacher, Breath of Life, LOL 9 She Must Be Obeyed on Prime Video. Start your free trial today.
Welcome, Daddy. What would you like to have?
Give me afang and the correct swallow.
How about you, Auntie?
Egusi and the better swallow.
You call my sister Mengdeda and the correct swallow, right?
You know what's up. Golden Penny Semovita.
That's right. Golden Penny Semovita is my soup's first choice. Made with premium wheat and enriched with vitamins. It's the right combo for Nigerian soups. Golden Penny Semovita, my soup's first choice.
Every parent wants to see their child growing up happy and healthy. Introducing Renzo Vitamins for Kids, a secret to your child's daily nutrition and boundless joy. With Renzo vitamins, your child will have the energy to embrace every moment and unlock their full potential. Give your child a head start in life with Renzo vitamins for kids, because a happy child is a healthy child.
Have you seen the new Mirinda 60cl bigger bottle? Is plenty. It's got a new look, refreshing taste, and the size. You can legit start drinking at 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m. Okay, I exaggerated, but you get the drift.
Get more refreshment and more enjoyment from Mirinda 60cl bigger bottle, also available in pineapple flavor. Mirinda 60cl bigger bottle, more refreshment and more enjoyment is plenty.
It's due you December. That means making statements your way, just like the queens of Real Housewives of Lagos. So just relax, because it's about you enjoying top-tier entertainment like Wura, Agu, School Run, and so much more. Only on Showmax. Do You December is also for the young ones and international movie lovers. Do You with SpongeBob, Fast X, and No Hard Feelings this festive anywhere, anytime without interruptions. Do You December is all about you. Subscribe now to showmax.com.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
There's a reason why over 1 million people tune into Hard Facts every day. We discuss in-depth stories with sources behind the facts.
The Lagos State High Court has convicted, suspended the Chicago certificate story. It's never going away, is it? Show with stories for the day.
You hear diverse voices and opinions.
You should not feel happy because there is nothing to happy about.
Yeah, it's quite pathetic the way the country is going.
We distinguish each story accurately with analysis.
It's Hard Facts with Marianne Okon on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, we're back from that break. We were talking about the elections that held in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where it has incumbent president Felix Tshisekedi in the lead. Well, that result from the elections, even though the votes have not been totally collated, 5 opposition presidential candidates have decided to go on some form of a protest, calling the elections in itself a fraud. Now, my guest has spoken to us about what is happening on the ground, and he asked a very important question, and I want to open the phone lines for you, Lagosians, to join the conversation. If you did listen to that conversation and you want to chime in, being that we also just came out of an election that happened earlier this year, plus the fact that we've had conversations about different elections, Zimbabwe, the Liberian election. Liberia seems to be the only country in this year that has had an election where the president was supposedly, what am I saying? He lost the election and he stepped aside without any push, without any shove. He accepted the results. That's George Weah. But in the Zimbabwean elections, we had similar cases where people called out the electoral process as fraudulent. Many people made cases. In fact, last week, if I'm not mistaken, we talked about the Sierra Leonean elections in itself and the fact that it was also called fraudulent, and opposition, is still fighting that situation. Again, we are looking at the elections in the DRC. There's so much similarity, and that's why our guest asked the question that how long will Africa keep on going like this, where elections or the electoral process in itself is not free, fair, or credible, or even seem to be. And the fact that we're very quick to want to conduct these elections, but then not follow the processes. I'd like to hear from you for the next 5 minutes. 0700 993 993 993. That's 0700 993 993 993. If you're just joining us, the program is still Global Review, and today we're in the DRC talking about the elections, and the elections turned violent. Not just that, protests are ongoing in the country where many people are being seen arrested, being arrested. We've seen people, starting fires, burning tires in the middle of the town. It's been a crazy day for them in Kinshasa and, of course, around the country. 0700 993 993 993. How long can we continue like this in Africa with these kinds of elections? Obina is calling us via Skype. Hello, Obina. Thank you for joining us.
Miriam, good evening, Miriam.
Good evening.
Yeah, so I listened attentively to your guest, and I see so much similarity between what's happening in Congo and what happened in Nigeria, or what has previously been happening in Nigeria. And I dare to say that this type of elections we have in Africa, especially in this part of Africa, it's maybe we have to find something else that will work for us. We have
What is the something else? What is the something else that would work for us? Because I'm curious. We always say that, but what is it?
Yeah, Miriam, that thing is what I don't know, but I know when we sit around, we can think out something else, because this thing is not where the person that is in the we would have made a difference in the election that brought in Buhari the first time with the way Jonathan went about it. But we see then, instead of progressing, we digress. And I wonder if we ever get it right again, if we don't change the type of elections we do, where the person in government takes over everything, where he dictates, takes what, and where he makes sure that he must come back, or whoever he wants comes back.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, Obina, for calling us. We appreciate your thoughts. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Mary, good evening once again.
Good evening.
This is Mr. Frank.
Mr. Frank, go ahead.
There is something that I used to imagine.
Turn off your radio, please.
No problem. This thing that I used to imagine is this. Like right there in Congo now, they are protesting. Majority are protesting. And somebody is leading. Who is voting for this person that is leading, whereby the majority are protesting? Are you getting me? Now, that is one. Like here in Nigeria now, the president has the right to appoint the central bank governor. And in the central bank is where they keep all the electoral equipment. The president himself has the right to appoint the INEC chairman, the chief judge, and every other person. And this is the problem we are facing here in Nigeria now. How can we resolve this issue? How can we change, like in Nigeria now, how can we change Mahmoud Yakub? How can we change Festus Okoye? How can we change
Festus Okoye is no longer a staff of INEC. He has retired. His tenure is over.
Praise the Lord. This is a good news. Why didn't Mahmoud Yakub retire as well?
Well, it's a tenure thing. His tenure is not over.
The tenure is not over?
Yeah, in closing, because we have to wrap things up. Yeah.
Marianne, I don't know if you can dash me like 20 seconds.
Go ahead.
I want to commend you in a high level.
Okay.
Today might be the last day of the last fast of 2023.
No, we have one tomorrow. There's one more hard
you're
fact.
coming tomorrow.
Yes.
Then I will tell you what I want to tell you tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Frank. Well, I wish we had more time to deal with this issue, but we will revisit it. We need to talk about the similarities of our elections across the continent and what we're not getting right and how we can get it right. But we have to go on a break. On the other side of the clock, we'll be talking about the National Assembly voting more money in their budget as opposed to the money set aside for education in this country. My guest is going to be joining us via Zoom. Stay tuned.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my Maggie gave to me 12 spicy suya, 11 rishi, 10 wraps of my mind, 9 for the road, 8 plates of unkwabi, 7 pepper soups, 6 sizzling snails, 5 fried fish, 4 cocoa bangos, 3 patty jollof, 2 giz dodo, and 4 with a goosey.
Reason to season with Maggie. Cook the difference.
It's due you December. That means making statements your way, just like the queens of Real Housewives of Lagos. So just relax, because it's about you enjoying top-tier entertainment like Wura, Agu, School Run, and so much more. Only on Showmax. Do You December is also for the young ones and international movie lovers. Do You with SpongeBob, Fast X, and No Hard Feelings.